Reese, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, mate.
Oh, excellent. Well played. Now, we were just saying how each year since 2011 you've looked at extreme weather events, and the last 3 years have given you a hatful of them.
Yeah, absolutely, Jonathan. I mean, what we're seeing really is this bitter chill that's gripping North America, and it's a result of Arctic air that is spilling southward. And make no mistake, it is caused by global warming. The Arctic air, which is normally penned at the top of the roof of the world by a powerful circular wind called the polar vortex, well, when the polar vortex weakens, the air starts to head southward, and it's bringing exceptional snow and deep freezer chills to the mid-latitudes. And we've seen this repeatedly over the last 4 years.
So why is that vortex weakening? What's caused that?
Well, so what's happening here is we got a loss of the Arctic sea ice, and it's absolutely wreaking havoc on the weather in North America. And you couple this with a warming Arctic Ocean by at least 1 degree C. And by the way, we know this from our lovely friends, the spiral-toothed iconic narwhals, which my colleagues have put temperature sensors on, and we know that the waters are warming that much. And when the latent heat, the moisture from the Arctic Ocean is infused into the vast atmosphere, it kicks in an energy that it's over the top, and it's affecting the jet stream, the fast-moving upper air powerful river, which normally hugs the top of the world, and it's broken loose, and these waves are dipping way down deep. And as you said, look, there's 10-meter waves in the UK right now.
It's certainly extreme. The funny thing is, I guess, that when there's huge cold weather like this, people hostile to the idea of global warming, and this is happening in the US, say, well, how can you be talking about global warming? It's so cold.
Yeah, I got that. But, in science, we deal with facts. Opinions everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but not the facts. Let me give you the skinny on the Polar Jetstream and why it's so important. It marks the boundary between cold air to the north and warm to the south. And the differences between those temperatures are what drives this sinuous wave. And when the jet stream weakens, it gets wavier, just like a snake. You know how the snake moves? And when these big waves happen, Jonathan, they get locked in to this pattern, and it gets stuck, and it's lasting longer, and it's costing hundreds of billions of dollars.
And as we know, Reese Halter, this is just beginning. The effects of global warming are gathering strength.
Yeah, mate, it's really awful. And here's my bear bug, and I'm not going to pull any punches. We've got a very, very serious problem. It's called the way we spend carbon and way we use energy, and we're burning carbon energy. Australia is just about to ramp up fivefold, 240 million metric tons of coal from the Galilee Basin. Indonesia, Borneo is going so hard. Look, Jonathan, they're moving mountains of coal every moment down the Macab River, and over here on this side, the tar sands, the oil sands in Alberta are going hard. We know what's causing, and unless we do something serious, like let our best friend innovation get us out of this mess, we have not seen anything just yet.
Still time, I guess, but as you say, innovation, a bit of imagination may be the key. Reese Halter, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Dr. Reese Halter, he's a conservation biologist and educator, 7 minutes away from 8.
There you go. So it's a bit counterintuitive, but yeah. When you release the carbon dioxide and you trap heat in the atmosphere and the globe starts to warm and you melt the Arctic Ocean and you put more temperature into the air mass over the Arctic Ocean, you bugger up the Polar Jetstream, which normally circles roughly around the border of what they call the Arctic Circle. But just because it's getting cold in the excited states and massive storms are hammering Europe, it doesn't mean that global warming is a myth. It just means that extreme weather is the new normal. So if your hailstorms produce hailstones the size of oranges or even watermelons, you can chalk it up to global warming. If you get a drought and a heat wave, that's global warming. And if you get an unusual snowstorm, a massive snowstorm, it's still global warming. Sorry about that, cranky old bloke VV Ed and Raven slaves. You can't use a snowstorm in the excited states to hide behind the conclusion that global warming can't be happening because we've got a snowstorm. That's called an anecdote, and anecdotes don't become data. Right? You have to work on science. You have to work on what's actually happening. Like the bloke said, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. Everybody's entitled to one, unless they've got a colostomy. But I do think it's interesting that the extreme weather is hammering the places where there are really high concentrations of fat cat trending money grubbing arseholes who don't give a flying rat's arse about the environment because they just want to make more fat profits faster in the short term. And they plan on increasing their consumption and increasing their emissions because they want to try and push their balance sheet into the black, and it's not going to happen. The extreme weather is going to dismantle their industrial infrastructure. Whee! And that means that we're going to see more and more and more stinking hot days in the places that are hot, and the places that are situated to cop the polar blasts, they're going to cop a huge amount of snow in short bursts, which may hang around for a while. The point is, it's the extremes that are becoming more extreme. Whatever was unprecedented is now going to be normal. And no amount of political spin and marketing propaganda can obfuscate that. The extreme weather is going to destroy the ability of humans to trade globally. You get a 3-foot rise in sea level, all your deep water harbours and ports are going to become unusable. And if we haven't got the political will and the economic capital necessary to fix the potholes on the roads, what the hell makes anybody think we've got the ability to rebuild all our deep water cargo handling ports? It's just not going to happen. They're currently talking about putting a dam across underneath the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco to save their estuary from salt water as sea level rises, because 26 million people drink the water at the upstream end of that estuary. It's already starting to go brackish because sea level has risen 7 inches. By the time sea level has risen a foot, that water is going to become utterly undrinkable. They're also talking about putting a dam across from the Rock of Gibraltar to Morocco to try and save the Mediterranean ports and the Middle East from the sea level rise in the Atlantic. So, I guess it all kind of makes sense. The fat cat trendy money grubbing arseholes didn't care when the scientists said 150 years ago and started making big noises 30 years ago that if you keep burning carbon and keep emitting it to the atmosphere, you'll stuff the homeostasis of the atmospheric heat engine. Okay, well, now the atmospheric heat engine is going to stuff the industrial infrastructure. You could call it atmospheric chemistry, you could call it physics, or you could call it karma, but one way or the other, it's in the pipeline. And I don't know about you, but I reckon it's pretty bloody scary. I suspect that we're in for a really massive population cull as the cities become unlivable when the weather system wipes out the grid and the food distribution and the water distribution and the sewage treatment systems. It's a worry, isn't it? Hey? Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Just get real. Global warming is not a greeny communist plot. Global warming is the end result of all this capitalist, competitive profit chasing. Yeah, it's a worry, isn't it? It's a worry. The kangaroos don't understand it. And they've got a better grip on reality than any climate science denialist. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. Sorry for the rambling rant, but I haven't washed me face and done me hair yet, so I had to find other things to point the camera at while I rambled and warbled. Ciao.